This episode is sponsored by Fairfax Football Academy, the best QB training and development in all of Northern Virginia. Follow on Instagram at Fairfax Football Academy. You'll be happy that you did. All right, welcome back to All Hitches, Northern Virginia's best and only football podcast. Coach Mesa, how's it going today, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Trying to get some yard work done today. And actually, I was listening to a podcast on the way home, and I listen to podcasts when I drive home, for the most part from work. And I have never listened to our podcast. I've never once listened to it. And so then the theme came on, and I'm in my car, and I'm like, which podcast is this? What am I listening to? Like, I was listening to one podcast, and it plays in succession. And I was like, what podcast is this? And then as soon as it started, I was like, oh, this is our podcast. So I learned one that you sound really clear and amazing on the podcast, and I sound like I'm at a payphone in 1978 in an airport somewhere. So I think I might have to invest in a mic or something. I don't know. I
don't think you sound bad when I listen. I have to. So people know I edit this thing, and I hear it a lot. I hear our show a lot because I edit it.
Yeah.
I don't think you sound bad at all, buddy.
I sound like I'm speaking to Woodward and Bernstein, telling about the secrets of the Nixon administration. Is what
you got a voice. You got a voice like honey, my friend. Soothing sound.
I don't know about that, but yeah. So the first time I listened to it, which was
I was going to ask you this: you were listening to a podcast, because that's a good segue for what I'm about to say. Yeah. Did you subscribe to that podcast, good sir?
I do subscribe to all those podcasts. That's how they play. I listen to them on Apple, so I've subscribed to all those. I have a lot of podcasts I've subscribed to. The list is long and lengthy.
Okay.
Yeah, but I listen to quite a few things.
All right. Well, everyone, you hear that? He's subscribing. Why aren't you subscribing? All of you should be subscribing if he's subscribing. All right. So let's get on it. All right. That's the first thing I'm going to say today. We got to start subscribing. All of us got to do it. We got to tell our grandparents out in Missouri and our cousins out in California.
So we are 3 states away on the website from having the full country have gone to our website. It's Oklahoma,
what state?
Wyoming, and North Dakota.
Yeah, you ain't getting the Dakotas, but you might get Wyoming.
No, we got South Dakota. We don't have North Dakota. So
Wyoming, the state, Wyoming, Dick Cheney, Wyoming.
Liz Cheney, the McLean High School graduate.
Yeah, that's true. You said that before. I forgot about that.
No.
Well, buddy, another fun night. I mean, it was, we were not at the same game. I think it's the first week this season that you and I were not at the same game. So we were talking back and forth on text and stuff. And it was an action-packed night. What do you think about things?
It was a lot of big spreads at the end of the game. I feel like not a lot of close games this week. Yeah. It seems like a lot of games were 2-score games at the very end, if not more. I know I talked about it last time too. There's a lot of flags. I think I was talking with somebody over there, and I was at the South County and West Springfield. That first quarter almost took an hour.
Wow.
With the amount of flags, it just seems like, I mean, I don't know if that's a new edict with them. Maybe because I've been coaching so long, I don't think about it because it doesn't feel like that to me. But I'm like, man, these games are going pretty late. I feel like most of these games are in about 10. Not a lot of, and because last week we had a lot of games that were, finished with, some, big spreads in between them. You would think they'd end quicker. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. What time did you get at Oakton, Woodson?
Yeah, I was at Oakton Woodson. I don't remember anything. I don't know what time I left. I know most of the restaurants were closed. It was almost 10 by the time I get out, I guess. That's usually the normal time. All the decent restaurants are closed, and you're driving, by a drive-through at that point, which is terrible. Because a little bit earlier, I would have stopped by Santini's.
Yeah.
No, I would have done
Santini's. And any people working for Santini's, let them know that if
that's right.
If they don't have to pay us any money. Just give us a card where I can get a free calzone a week, and maybe you can get something else, some other kind of free meal a week, and we will.
And a side of curly fries.
When I go to Santini's, I'm always torn between the steak, because their steak fries are good too. I mean, I wish you could go a little half and half, right? Wouldn't it be nice if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get a little half and half on there? I think that
Half
would
steak
be,
fries, half crow. Because I am a steak fry guy too. Love
yeah,
good steak fries. I agree with you.
yeah.
Well,
Now,
buddy.
is there any better fry than a Fuddrucker fry?
Okay, so the best French fry I ever had, and I did love Fuddruckers fries. The best fry I ever had was a place called Outlaw Burger in Van Nuys, California. Now, closer to your neck of the woods. Best burger I ever had. They closed down about 5 years ago. I will drive to Van Nuys, California to get if he ever opens back up. Owner of Outlaw Burger, if you're listening, open one back up. I'm there. I'm heading out there. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Look, man, action-packed night, and we got your favorite thing of the week here, players of the week and play of the week.
Yeah.
We got it all. We got it all right here, buddy. And we got some fun ones. We got some names you've heard of, and we got some names people haven't heard of. We got a little bit of mix, little mix there.
Yeah.
All right, let's start it with the National Conference. What do you got over there, buddy?
I think you have the list. I don't know. I have the list.
I do have the list, but I'm keeping you on your toes. I'm keeping you on your toes. I do have the list. I got it right here. Hot off the press, my friend. Hot off the press. The old Steve Gutenberg press.
Yeah.
All right. National. Our man.
Oh, I do remember
my man. That's why I asked you. You knew this one. That's why. You don't have all of them, but you knew this one.
I knew this one.
Jeff Overton. And this is one of the more amazing stat lines. You and I were talking about this off camera that I've ever seen. This is
yeah.
Right? It is.
Carries.
3 carries, man. 157 yards rushing off 3 carries, 3 touchdowns. That's wild to me. That's wild.
He threw one too. He threw a touchdown
and he threw one. Looking like a young LaDainian Tomlins. Remember LaDainian Tomlins used to throw touchdowns? One pass attempt, 1 pass completion, 28-yard touchdown. And who was it to?
Victor or Dennis. Yeah. And his dad had made sure that we knew how to. Yeah. And I don't mind that. I'm glad somebody tells us how to pronounce the name correctly.
It's people, because if we're ever saying a name wrong or something, just let us know in a DM and we'll, we're not trying to say any names wrong. But yeah, or Dennis catches the touchdown. He had a big night as well, and they had a big night obviously in that game. But man, I've never seen that. 3 carries, 3 touches, 157 yards. That's very impressive. That's Bo Jackson from Tecmo Bowl stats right there, buddy.
That is running around in circles.
Right, right.
Did you ever pick anyone besides Bo Jackson when you played Tecmo Bowl? Did you ever pick any other team other than the Raiders?
The original Tecmo Bowl is my favorite, and yeah, I would have fun. The Giants were fun because the Giants were like Lawrence Taylor was Bo Jackson on defense in that game.
Oh yeah.
Lawrence Taylor was so fast in that game. Ronnie Lott was good too. The Niners were good in that. The original one.
Yeah.
The Niners were good in that one too. You had Ronnie Lott in the back, and you had Michael Carter at nose tackle.
Michael Carter,
who was so fast. Yeah. I'm a original Tecmo Bowl connoisseur. I could play that. I still play it every once in a while. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. But 3 carries for over 150. I mean,
crazy. That's insane. So congratulations.
We had a conversation of how to not give a kid who got 50 yards, who had a 50-yard average, not give the player of the week. But I don't know how you don't give that to that kid.
Right. We got to. And you would think, 3 touches, no way. Yeah. Well, he found a way. 3 touches.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Jeff Overton. All right, moving to the Patriot. A little different here. You and I talked about this. This might have been the victory of the week, and South County. And you'll break that down later. You were at that game, South County over West Springfield. Little unconventional, but like we have to say, we are the dictators here. We are in charge, and we can do whatever we want. And we thought it was kind of a 3-headed monster in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah, we have 2 offensive guys and 1 defensive guy.
So you were very impressed with our man. Talk about it on defense.
Oh, Hunter Malek. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a stretch during that game, and I guess I'm kind of giving away what we're talking about now, where he was just dominant. I mean, he was just just going right through West Springfield. I mean, yeah, there was a stretch about 3 or 4 plays where he just kind of took over the game defensively. I mean, he was even when he wasn't making the tackle, he was such a
Yeah.
problem that he was causing a lot of issues for West Springfield.
I've been saying it for months now, or months. I guess it's been only a month and a half we've been doing the show, but he is the Ivan Drago of Northern Virginia high school football. Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Yeah, no, he looked really good.
All right. Then we had my man. I predicted this past week.
You did.
I predicted this. And when I make these predictions, sometimes the hat's coming on, buddy. That's the hat right there. That's the what is it? Like Karnak. Like Karnak. That's the dash. I'm telling you right now, when I make these predictions, I'm going to put on the hat from now on. Our man, Steve Corona, 112 yards, right? Rushing.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just a day, man.
He tough runner. I mean,
tough runner, tough son of a gun, man.
Tough runner. Yeah,
tough,
I mean,
man.
Lee goes well with that ground and that ground attack that Coach Penney's doing over there at South County.
And I predicted that. That Nostradamus is the name.
Nostradamus.
And then we had not to be outdone. We had our man Orth.
Yeah, I mean, he did everything for them. He punted, he returned, he played quarterback. I mean, he was everything to everybody. I mean, he keeps on having performance like that. There's no way he at the very least. I'm sure he'll get talked about at other positions, but I mean, to be the quarterback and to be returning the kicks is pretty impressive. So, yeah, with their other quarterback being out for the year apparently.
Yeah. That's too bad.
He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, but he definitely performed. Threw the ball well, ran the ball well, returned the ball well. I mean, he definitely is an issue.
Well, I'll tell you who he is. You know who he is doing all that. He's like a young Julian Edelman. This guy, right?
Julian Edelman,
young Julian Edelman. I mean, Tyler Orth, 22 of 29. Okay, passing, 289 passing yards, 1 touchdown. In the air, 68 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. I mean, that's and then like you said, a boatload of return yards.
Yeah, he had a huge return, a couple of big returns. So
we can call him Edelman. We can call him Slash. Remember, you good old Slash.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good old Cordell Stewart, right? He's Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, Slash.
Cordell Stewart did that in the pros, right? He would play quarterback. Yeah.
Oh.
And he did not cramp up, so he apparently was drinking the pickle juice with the mustard in it.
Drinking the pickle juice. So congratulations to those guys, man. That was a big win. That's a big win.
Yeah.
Now, in the Concord, and maybe the other big win of the week.
Yeah.
With Westfield, beating Braddock in that showdown. Kennedy Duda, holy smokes, 25 carries, 112 rushing yards, and a touchdown against Braddock.
Yeah. I mean, I watching that game. Their ground attack for a team that really needed it, right? For a team that really needed a kind of a signature win. I think they went and got it. Yeah,
that's a big day for him. Big win for them. And they pulled away in that one a little bit. Right? They pulled away. They were down.
They were down in the fourth quarter.
They got to pull away big fourth quarter.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Impressive stuff. All right. The Liberty. We haven't featured anyone from Yorktown yet. And I think it was time, my friend. I think it was time. Finn Luca, who does not live on the second floor.
He does not.
He's living in the penthouse, but he's living freaking like a rich man in the penthouse. Now, for those who don't know, living on the second floor, Luca, that was a big hit in the 80s. By who? What was the band?
Suzanne Vega.
It was a terrible song. It wasn't even a good song, but it was a big hit. It was a big hit. I think
it was a big hit.
So Finn Luca, 4 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big day for him. Big day for Yorktown. So congratulations to young Finn Luca.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, in the Cardinal District, we've been talking about the ground and pound, my friend over there. Landon Hunt, talk about it. Landon Hunt.
Yeah, he had a big game for Forest Park.
Yeah.
In a I guess a 3-score win over
Yeah.
AC. And coming off 15-yard season, definitely he's going to have some be focused on. So no, he had a huge game for Forest Park.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. Also had an 85-yard reception for a touchdown. I mean, big day for them on the ground. But not a surprise. Forest Park, they are synonymous with ground and pound
Yes, sir.
running attacks. All right, buddy. Cedar Run, our player of the week, Cedar Run. Preston Jordan, 5 catches, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. Talk about this guy. Tell me how big this guy is. Tell me how big this guy is.
He's 6'5", right? I mean, he's
5.
I mean, he's a big boy.
That's
right?
I mean that you could I mean, depending on what he wants to do down the road. I mean, he wants to put on a few pounds, put his hand in the dirt, right? Play a little tight end. I mean, the sky's the limit when you're 6'5" and you're catching 5 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Sky's the limit for this young man. So good, congratulations, Preston Jordan from Unity Reed.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, buddy. Well, that is the 6th Nova Player of the Week this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to all those guys. Get the email and hopefully we'll be able to get your write-ups done sometime this week.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that, guys. Coach Mesa is going to be reaching out to you guys and tweeting that out and putting the stuff out on the website and all that stuff. So congratulations to you guys. Now you also have a play of the week that was sent to us by the Marshall coaches, buddy.
Oh yeah. They have a huge run. I believe it was a 55-yard touchdown. Breaks a bunch of tackles. It was by.
That was a beautiful run.
Yeah,
beautiful run. That was by Carter Okatajunji, and I might be pronouncing that wrong. It was 42 yards. Carter Okatunji, 42-yard touchdown, and I mean it was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was definitely pretty impressive by him.
That was by 3-0 Marshall. Am I correct?
By 3-0 Marshall. I mean, with another blowout win, right? I mean,
3-0 Marshall making the 72 Dolphins a little bit antsy, a little bit nervous over
there. Yeah, they are.
So yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff over there. Congratulations to that young man for the highlight of the week. Right there.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Here we go. We're getting into it, man. We are going to get into it right now. We had a Fab 5 coming into the week on Friday night, and you attended one of the Fab 5s. You attended. Talk about it.
Yeah, so I went to West Springfield at South County. It was back and forth in the first half. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, West Springfield was up 17-14 at the half. West Springfield had chances to kind of take a bigger lead, and South County was able to tighten up. But you have a veteran coach in Coach Benoni. You've got a really good defense. I mean, they're really fast on defense. I mean, and they definitely do get after you. And I was really impressed early on with West Springfield's ability to put pressure on the quarterback. I thought their pass rush looked really good. But then the second half, South County just kind of wears you down. That run game was really doing well. They were throwing the ball pretty well, and it just seemed like West Springfield could never kind of get back on track. It seems like every time that they'd drive the field, it would stall out. And like I talked about earlier, a lot of penalties early on. The fact that the game went as long as it did, I just felt like it really did hurt. I felt like a lot of big penalties went against West Springfield. Some were obvious penalties. Other ones maybe you might be able to argue with it. But it just seemed like they could never fully get control when they had a chance to. And I think you're playing on the road. I think it makes it pretty difficult.
Yeah, yeah. So answer me this: a couple of things and we just talked about him, but I'm captain of the defense, Hunter Malecki. You know, I know he's
Oh,
destroying things when he's hitting, but are they moving him around? Is he playing everywhere?
so I know they are playing more a little bit. He also plays offense. I mean, they bring him in on their goal line situations as well. So I think that's he's really important to their whole scheme.
That's what I figured. I figured a guy like that, he's a weapon. You kind of use him everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then Tyler Orth. Now they're playing him at he obviously was a kind of a slot receiver, right?
all region, right? He's all region receiver.
Yeah, and now he's at quarterback. And you said the young quarterback is now out, right? He's got an injury, he's out for the year, which is a shame. That's too bad. He was kind of coming along, but you know what? He's at least he's young, and you get healed, get well, and then boom, he can come back, ready to go next year, right? Now what people have been telling me is that South County D line is just destroying people. Were you seeing that?
Yeah. Like I said, defensively, they're really stout up front. I mean, they are really stout. I mean, they were making life pretty tough on both White and Davies. So just kind of going back about West Springfield though. Davies, I was really impressed with. I thought Davies looked really good. That 1-2 punch between him and White is pretty impressive. But Davis is a hard runner, man. He's pretty tough to bring down.
Right.
But defensively, that defensive line is pretty stout up front. I thought that they gave West Springfield a lot of issues during the game, which kind of limited them, on what they could do.
Right. Now, Davies is the one who caught that ball out of the big gainer against that got him down the field for that first score against last week against Hayfield 2 weeks ago. Right? Isn't that Davey? Yeah. I like him. I like him too. He's a good running back. All right, man. Well, tough game there. But here's the thing: the beauty about that matchup, though, neither team's going anywhere. I mean, we're going to see them again. This could be a rematch, like in round 2 or round 2 of the playoff.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it could be round 1, right? I mean, depending how this all.
Yeah, I mean, it could be round 1.
This all shakes out.
Yeah.
Because West Springfield now with 2 losses.
It could be. Where is this? It could be round 1.
I gotta look away.
But what this tells me is that what I'm kind of feeling here. I'm feeling one of these guys is going to be ranked really high. One of them is going to be kind of like a 4 season.
Well,
I don't think we're going to see round 1. I think we're looking at more round 2. I think
they still have to go see Braddock. They still have to go see. They still have to go see Lake Braddock. I mean, so that's a must win. Yeah. If for some reason if they lose to Braddock, they now have 3 losses. And those teams are we ranked above him. You can assume that Hayfield will be, so that's 3 already. So unless they're the 4 seed, and I think the Patriots still pretty tough. I mean, West Braddock, not a pushover.
That's true.
Fairfax obviously had a hiccup against Oakton, but I think that there's a chance that they may have to go on the road.
No, that's true. That's true.
And depending what happens with South County, and I mean Braddock still has those 2 teams left. I mean that could be the 4 or 5 matchup. That could be. I could see that being the 4 or 5 matchup.
Yeah. Again, Nostradamus, not feeling a 4 or 5 matchup here. Not feeling that. That's the beauty of this. Like you always say, right? That's why they play the games. That's why they play the games. That's why Herm Edwards got famous saying that.
Yep. Yeah, he did. He
did. Herm Edwards, man, that's our guy. All right, man. Well, other game of the week. I mean, we had 5 good ones on the slate. How about Westfield? I know you caught some of the action. Westfield with our guy Kennedy Duda, who's tearing it up, versus Lake Braddock. Man, Lake Braddock having to go Madison, Westfield back to back. Talk about it.
Yes. So I felt like Braddock was in control of that game up until about 9 minutes left to go in the game. Wow. They're driving. It looks like they're going to get a score to go up by 2 scores and force Westfield to have to try to score quick. And they kind of get, I believe they get a penalty. They then don't get yards on second down. Now they're 3rd and long. They end up having to give the ball back to Westfield, and then Westfield hits this pass. I mean, it wasn't anything complicated. They kind of hit this skinny post a little bit to the receiver. he breaks, and I believe he scores. If not, he gets the one. And then Braddock gets the ball, down one score, and then I think they get another penalty. Now they're forced in, 1st and 20. They're not able to move the ball at all. They're able to get the 20 yards they need, getting 3 downs, which is tough. They then punt the ball, and Westfield scores again. So with 9 minutes left to go in the game, it looks like Braddock's in complete control. They're going to win the game. And then within the span of about 5 minutes, so they have to make that second score about 4 minutes to go, and about 5 minutes, they're now Braddock is chasing 2 scores.
Wow.
They end up getting a field goal, and then have to kick an onside kick at the end, and they don't recover, and then Westfield pulls out the win. Westfield definitely snatched the victory from the jaws of defeat. Because
Wow.
as I'm watching that game, I'm thinking to myself, how does Braddock lose? They look in complete control of the game. Now Westfield does get a goal line stand, and they end up driving. They're not getting scored, but that was a big swing for Braddock not to get a touchdown on the goal line.
Man. Well, it sort of bears repeating again. I mean, once again, they're not going anywhere. I mean, Braddock's still gonna be, at the end of the day, Braddock's gonna be fighting for one of those top spots.
Right.
And on the other side, I think same thing. I think regardless of what happened here with Westfield Braddock, now they came on top. But even if they hadn't, when it all comes down to it, Westfield Madison, I think that one bears watching at the end of the year. I think that's going to be a huge implications in that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right? No, I agree.
So all these guys are going to be there when it matters. Now you're talking about, I think you're, like you said, I think you're talking about top 4 seeding. I think you're talking about these games are going to determine where you're going to be in that top 4. Right. Man, good stuff though, but good stuff. And by the way, we were getting updates from our guys, right?
Yes.
Adam Hazara, John Fedora, Coach Laguna. They were updating us on stuff, and we were kind of trying to tweak those out while we could.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate all the help we can get.
Yeah, so we thank those guys for kind of getting us some of that key info. All right. Next up, well, that was a game that I was at, buddy. That was a good old. It was Woodson at Oakton. Oakton coming off. And I had to see it, right? I see it with my own eyes. I had to see, Oakton was coming off the big upset win, right, with Fairfax. Yeah. And then how are they going to handle, being probably, like you always say, the fake monopoly money, MGM, favorites. Yeah. They're probably the favorites, in that game. And how are they going to handle that? Are they going to be big-headed? Or are they going to come in kind of level-headed and say, hey, let's keep proving ourselves to everybody? Right. Man, you texted me, I think, within 3 minutes of that game. And I said, man, it's already 14-0. And you were like, what? They had an interception early, scored right away. Then they had a pick 6 early. So blink of an eye, it was 14-0. Credit to Woodson and Coach Pilson. They kept battling, right? They battled. But this one got away from kind of early. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, 35-0, 35-7 at the half. Dalen Jones, we talked about him like he was one of our players of the week last week.
Right.
He dominated the secondary. Every time I threw a ball, I was like, he's picking that off. I think he had 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. He probably could have had 2 more.
Yeah.
So it's funny. All week you and I were talking about watch Dalen Jones. Well, we were half right. We said watch Dalen Jones on offense, and then he comes out and he's player of the game on defense.
Yeah.
So that's a weapon. Jack Martin looked good for Oakton at quarterback. As good as advertised. The running game was solid and stout.
Yeah.
Right. And then and what did you and I say going back to the summer in the preseason? Oakton's defense.
Yeah.
We talked about Coach Slay and that defense.
Yeah, we both kind of were really impressed when we saw the scrimmage going to them. We thought they looked really good. The impressive part too is those guys are young. Like they're sophomores. Like, holy smokes! That's a team that looks like they're primed, right? They're getting primed, yes. And in the next 2 years they're going to be a huge issue. There'll be a
Yes.
huge issue.
Yeah, and I meant to tell you. Talked to Coach Slay. Loves the show. Appreciates everything we do. He also appreciated Coach Mesa's prediction last week. He said, "Tell Coach Mesa this one was for him because you, my friend, called the upset special. It was the upset special. You took a shot. Took a shot. Sometimes you got to throw a dart sometimes and hope you get it right. You called Woodson in the upset special, and maybe you should have worn the unlucky hat for that one because you got that wrong. And
I did.
And what I love about him calling you out on that, what I love most about that is, if I'm not mistaken, those predictions that we made were at the very end of the show. And you're always asking who's watching. Well, Coach Slay is watching, buddy. So get that right. Predict correctly next time.
We are appreciative. But I mean, Oakton looks like that. I mean, 2 wins, 5 wins probably get you in. They get 3 more wins, and they're going to go from a 1-9 season to a playoff team, which in a year is monumental. Look, right?
We've been talking about this. Who can make that turnaround?
Yeah.
Right now it's like, look, I mean, you and I were talking last night, on the ride home, and we're talking about, some of what we're seeing right now, and it's all projection right now, right? It's still early in the season.
Right.
But one of the projections we're talking about, I'm like, these guys could be a 5-6 win team, make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if they are, Coach Slay's in the conversation for Coach of the Year. Now, we're talking
100%.
right now, things could change, right? But as of right now, that's the narrative of that, man. I'm very excited to see what these guys can do and what he could do.
No, looks like a great hire, and definitely the Oakton Cougars are ready to go, right?
Yeah, for sure. And with Woodson, they kept battling, right? I mean, it was 35-7 at halftime. They only allowed another touchdown in the second half, so they fought hard, right?
Yeah.
Just got to stay the course, right? Keep working.
Yeah.
Keep putting in the work, and hopefully things will turn around.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, buddy. So game 4, unfortunately, was Fairfax Centerville, and I was actually really excited about this game. Now, we reached out to Fairfax's coaching staff because they were at the, they were hosting it. It was at Fairfax. That game is not on NFHS. Right. We don't know what's going on there. They don't know. We asked Coach, and he said, he didn't know. He'd look into it. He's not sure why. So we haven't had to watch that game. So we were kind of looking online. We were seeing some updates. We got a few things we were able to gather from reports because we're doing our sleuth work, right? We're doing what we can.
We are.
But
it looks like that their running back, right, looked like he had a pretty big day.
Yeah, man. So they got the 1-2 punch. So Lynch is out right now still.
Yeah.
That would be Maltese and Moment, right?
Moment. Yeah. No. He had some really impressive runs. From what we saw, looked like he run the ball well. And credit to that Fairfax coaching staff for the bounce back win, right? I mean,
yes.
Tough loss, a last second loss to Oakton to come back against what I do think is a talented Centerville team.
They are a talented team.
Yeah. Good coaching staff. We know they have some quality coaches over there, Coach Shields, and they have 2 former head coaches, right, on their staff.
Yep.
2 former head coaches who both had quite a bit of success.
Coach Aziz being the other one.
Coach Aziz, yeah. The quality coaching staff, some quality players, and Fairfax able to shut them out, right? 29.
I think Centerville scored late in that game.
They did score.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, but I mean, impressive, right? Impressive win. Looks like they ride the ship over there, and I think we talked about it before. They got off the mat, right? Both those teams are trying to get up off the mat, and Fairfax was able to come out on top on this one.
Yeah, I mean the Maltese Falcon, right?
Yeah,
little ground and pound with him and Amin Moomin. They kind of like what they're seeing there. And then they talk about the D line because that line is stout of there. They got a tough line, you know. And they got their man Tolson, D end and Gerald Martin. Looking like a young Latimer out there. Just ferocious on the D line. That's a big part of that. And then Ben Taylor,
Yeah.
at young middle backer too, only a sophomore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you taught in that area, and those Fairfax kids are tough kids, right?
They are tough.
Fairfax City kids are pretty tough kids, right?
Yeah, no, they are tough. They are tough, and they're disciplined. They're well coached.
Yeah.
So kudos
And
to
and
Coach
and
Taylor, Coach Harris.
and Coach Taylor can coach a ground game pretty well, right? I mean,
Yes, he can.
he's kind of shown that yeah, he can coach a ground game really well.
And any kids who are questioning, and we've seen it in some, a lot of times when schools are struggling to get buy-in, it shows in the weight room, right?
Right.
You'll see it there. Like, are they buying in? Okay, go. Is any school buying in? Go to the weight room and see. If the numbers are there, then the kids are buying in. If they're not there, they're probably not buying in. And Fairfax is a testament to that. You look at those guys. Those guys, Coach Taylor's done it in the weight room with those guys, and it's showing on the field. So, if any kids out there wondering, how do we get things turned around here at our school, we want to. Well, how you do it? Off season time, get in that weight room and get the whole team in the weight room. Get everybody in there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, football is the one big sport where it's won and lost in the off season.
Yeah.
Sure. That's one thing that makes football different. Where the basketball, for the most part, I'm not basketball because there's travel ball. You can play basketball year round. Get better playing basketball. Baseball, same thing. Football, there is no year round football. The part that you get that you improve on is off season weight room.
Right. Yeah. So kudos to the Fairfax, like you said, for getting up off the mat and freaking answering back. Right. So good job to those guys. All right, buddy. And the fifth game of the week, Chantilly and McLean, right?
Yeah.
2-0 teams going at it.
Yeah. Did you watch a little of that?
I did. So that was on NFHS, and I was able to watch that game, and really impressed our guy Sahir Mantry. Stepped up. So early in the game, I'll tell you what, McLean scores early to Aiden Reed. Remember that name from McLean. I'm watching this guy. This guy looked, he got a touchdown pass. He had another huge gain in the air. I thought I was watching Andre Reed for a second. All right. Andre Reed shed the yellow jacket, the old Hall of Fame jacket. The old Buffalo Bill came back to play for McLean because this kid was all over the place. So impressed by that. But they scored first. Chantilly answers right back with the 50-yard catch and run. Then little trickery from Chantilly. Little well, there's going to be a screen. Ended up being a kind of a pass, and he freaking the receiver threw it down the field to a wide open guy. They got on the board that way. Mantry again let him down the field a little bit later, which on a couple of big passes, he got down to a 1-yard touchdown. They ended up, Chantilly kind of had control of that game. They had a lead. It was a 1-score lead till about the fourth quarter, though. And then they kind of go ahead touchdown there, and then the ground and pound put it away. The Chantilly running game just kind of iced it for him. McLean had some opportunities to try and tie it in the fourth, and just couldn't get down the field.
Chantilly 3-0, right?
3-0. So now one goes to 2-1, one goes to 3-0. Chantilly is now 3-0, and I'm circling a Chantilly Oakton matchup down the road.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean that for those two schools in particular, right? That game's going to be gigantic.
It is
gigantic.
We might get to pull that might be the old all Hitches game of the week. I don't even know what week that is. But we're going to go there. We'll have our table. We'll be by the marching band. They'll come out and play. Right? Like game day morning. Like we'll bring Lee Corso out there and make some jokes.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring a cougar head and a charger head. Well, I'm not sure. Is it a horse? What is?
Shit, what is it? Yeah, charger. Right? It's like a knight, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what.
Oakton Chantilly last game of the year.
Woo!
Could that be for a playoff spot?
That could be for a playoff spot.
Could that be a playoff game before the playoffs start?
Yes. That could either be a win and you're in, lose if you're out game.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as
winning.
Winning you're the 6th seed, losing you're the 8th. You
Yeah.
don't want to play. I mean, let's just look at it from right now. We can only judge things from right now. You don't want to play Madison. The loser doesn't want to play Madison,
Right.
right? Imagine that matchup. So that'll be a dog fight in week 10.
Although, would you not, as a fan, like to see Oakton Madison round one? That's a rivalry, right?
Those kids all know each other from youth league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oakton Madison round one of the playoffs.
I'll tell you what. Watching Oakton, and I know we've kind of moved on games now. We're like on the 5th game of the Fab Five, but you bring it up just because we're talking about Chantilly playing this hypothetical game. Well, it's week 10, but a playoff game. Oakton kind of reminded me of a young Madison team. Watching them in that game.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what it reminded me of. Yeah. Now, fast forwarding here, Chantilly Oakton in week 10. Oof. That's an old youth league barn burner, as you say. That's an old Chantilly youth versus Vienna youth game right there.
I mean, 2 young quarterbacks, like a sophomore and junior quarterback going head to head on that one. I mean, that game could be fun, right? That game could be a lot of fun.
Very fun. Oh, we're definitely showing up there. We're gonna have the marching bands right there. We're gonna have the Cougar head. We'll find some guy to play the role of Lee Corso. We'll do some audition.
People will do that.
We'll do some audition for a third guy on the show. Man, that's the Fab Five, my friend, and
yeah. Now
the one thing I will say, that game, that last game, the McLean Chantilly game, was a 1-score game until the middle to end fourth quarter. Outside of that, like you said, they all kind of pulled away, right?
Yeah. I watched a little bit of Falls Church. I watched a little of Falls Church and South Lakes. I watched some film on that. I was really impressed with Falls Church's quarterback.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, pretty good athlete. Looks like he runs pretty well. They're definitely building there, but look like they have some pieces for sure.
So that bodes well. We'll start with that game. I mean, now Falls Church did lose that game to South Lakes, right?
Yeah. Yes, they did. Yeah, they did lose to South Lakes.
But that's something to build on.
No. Yeah, it looked. I mean, I know the final score was big, but I felt like early on, Falls Church was playing pretty well. They're down a couple scores, and I think it was 14-7 at one point. Yeah, because Falls Church goes down the field. So definitely they're building on something over there, right? I mean, it's going to take time, but it looks like they have some pieces over there to build on.
Well, good stuff. Well, they got heart. And they're continuing to fight, and that's a testament to their coach, Coach Coogan, who's doing a good job over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you talk about building a weight room culture.
Yeah,
that's what, and he's doing that, and he knows that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they look like they have some pieces to work with over there.
All right, good job. Well, so I guess that was Falls Church and South Lakes, kind of leading off our best of the rest from this past week. Moving down the list, one of our Player of the Week winners, Jeff Overton in the Hayfield Annandale game. So a big win, 65-0. The running clock was going early. I mean, Annandale. I mean, talk about being on the other side of one of these kind of games. A lot of coaches have been
on the winning side or the losing side.
Well, it's easy to talk about the winning side. How about on the Annandale side of that for a second?
So I think that when you're in a situation like that, one, trying to keep your guys' spirits up is difficult, and just trying to build on anything positive that happens. So you really want to preach on let's see if we can execute this play. Let's see if we can just kind of build something through there, right? I mean, it's easy during that time for the kids to kind of get down on themselves,
right?
Just trying to build some encouragement in there, and really just realize that you're probably getting a better look than what you get during practice, and so really work on some things that you think you might be able to do well and see how it looks against a better opponent at the time.
You're right.
Just, a more skilled opponent.
Now, well, welcome back. Hayfield, you were gone a little bit. Now you back to the party. They continue where they left off. Talk about that for a second. I know you reached out to Coach Overton, and you guys, and he was able to talk to you about that a little bit. But talk about, keeping a team motivated, when they got a few games that, aren't going to be the toughest matchups coming up.
Right. So I think that's a tough thing just with any teenager, right? I mean, just trying to keep them focused, and ready to go. And although, for the most part, they've had experience doing that. If you look at their scores in the past, I think they probably figured out a way how to keep those guys motivated and keeping their mind straight. Because at the end of the day, you're probably telling them, look, while our goal is to go undefeated, our goal is to win a state championship, and if we let off at all, we could have a bad experience down the road.
Right. Now, as far as Coach Overton and his kind of response, when because you asked that question, it was a good question. He responded saying practice, right? They make things tough in practice and physical. They do a lot of game scenarios, a lot of 2-minute goal line, 4-minute sudden death. They kind of cover everything, right? And so you're doing a lot of gameplay, a lot of real life game scenarios, and with them you have some talented battles. I mean, to watch, it'd be fun to go there and watch that because you're talking about some really high level players going at it and some real life scenarios there.
Right. So you just want to keep competition on during practice, right? I mean, you want to keep these kids competing as much as possible. And truthfully, though, every team should probably do that. Every team should probably be competing as practice as much as possible, because kids are more likely to perform better during practice if everything's a competition, right? If you're just doing a drill, just do a drill. The kids will just do a drill,
right?
But I think there's a term. It's the competitive. There's a name for it, of practice, and just trying to make everything a game. I mean, think about yourself personally, right? If you're sitting there just trying to throw a ball in a cup, and you're sitting there just kind of doing it over again, you get kind of bored. But as soon as somebody else comes over, and now you're both trying to throw the ball in the cup, now all of a sudden, you kind of build that focus. So I think that just kind of build that competition is probably the biggest part over there.
Yeah. So welcome back, Hayfield. You were missed, and now we got you for the rest of the way. You had the early bye week, which kind of stinks, obviously, but now you guys are back the rest of the way. So looking forward to seeing them for the next 2 months. All right. Next up, we had Langley at Edison. I mean, Langley won big, right? Big win, 43-6. Langley, man, what do you think about that?
3-0, right? I mean, you are who your record says you are, right? They are currently undefeated and not giving up a whole lot of points either, right?
Oh, that's a good defense. They shut out Oakton. We know Oakton's for real.
Yeah, I mean, they've seemed to they found whatever they needed, and they look like they're rolling.
Yeah, man. Ooh, well, keep it up. I can't wait to see Langley in some of these some of these Liberty battles, right? They had one last week, and we got Marshall coming up. You got you got some of these teams.
Yorktown.
Yeah, it's gonna get really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, down the list, we had W&L and Lewis. W&L, 41-0 over Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, big win for W&L. I mean, so just look at their schedule.
I think it was another tough week for National, outside of obviously Hayfield. So hang in there. I mean, you got the National, interconference plays coming up soon.
Yeah.
And that'll kind of settle some scores there.
Yeah, but W&L, right, scoring 40 points a game now at this point.
W&L, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've been talking to people about, coaching candidates and that kind of thing. And a lot of people talk about the W&L OC. And I can't argue with them, but people are saying, you know what, if someone's looking for, a job or a coach to hire, they should, in the offseason, they should interview the W. I'm, and I don't even know who the W&L OC is. I'm going to find that out as soon as we get off air. But that offense the last two or 3 years has been impressing a lot of people. Eyebrows are raised. People like what they see.
Right. And everyone's wondering, because they were so senior heavy, what they're going to look like this year. And, 40 points a game, And so that's 16 divided by 3. That's giving up 5.3 points a game. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now we'll get into it, but they do have Yorktown on the horizon.
That's a big one.
Oh.
That's a big one for a lot of reasons. That's one, it's a Liberty battle, right? Two, that's an Arlington, that's a turf war right there, buddy. That's a good old Arlington turf war.
Yeah.
That's I guess you say central. That's Central Arlington versus North Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Buddy. Yeah, but you're in my hood now, buddy. We're not in Long Beach anymore, bud. We're right here. We're right here in Northern Virginia.
We are.
All right, you can tell by all the lawyers. We are. All right. Well, next up, we got with Madison Robinson. Now, Madison Robinson at a different time would have been, would have made our Fab Five. Would
have been a game of the
Robinson's
week.
kind of hit a tough patch here, but they had the big win last week against South Lakes. People were kind of curious. Could they do 2 Concord teams in a row?
Yeah, Madison's so good. They're so good.
They really are.
I mean, right now someone's got to try to catch them, and we play. That's why they play the games, right? That's why we play the games. In fact, was it Yorktown? Was it Yorktown who played them tough in the second round?
Yes.
Last year. So
very close.
But man, they're good. I mean,
they are. So I watched that game. Opening kickoff, boom, nicely. Don't kick to him. Okay. Look, one former special teams coach to anyone out there listening, don't kick to Dom nicely. All right. If you kick to nicely, then you are doing your job very badly. Okay, how's that? I was just trying to think of a nicely badly. I kind of wanted to mix that in there, but don't do it. Don't do it. The guy's good. The guy's too good. He plays too goodly. I mean, and then so it's the gives them great field position early on. They score. They get the ball back. Kick a field goal. It was 10-0 early. Robinson was having a tough time kind of get things going. They had a lot of pressure on young Scaparetto, our player of the week last week.
Yeah.
And he's a fine quarterback. Only so much a quarterback could do, right? When you got guys in your face all night long, right?
Right.
They just had a tough go, and then Madison just dominates the trenches. They had a hard time getting things going, and a lot of teams would. And that's not a knock on Robinson, by the way. 90% of teams in the Northern Virginia would have a tough time getting things going against that Madison team.
Yeah, I mean, they're just they are just on another level right now. They're playing so well right now.
Right.
Doesn't mean they can't get clipped, but right now, I mean, they're just rolling. Just to open up, they shut out Stonebridge game 1, right? They shut out Stonebridge game 1, and the Stonebridge team, who actually is 0-3. But
that's a whole other conversation. And if we had a Loudon podcast, we'd do a whole episode dedicated to.
And we have reached out to multiple Loudon sources to come talk about Loudon football, and just nobody wants to interact with us.
Yeah, I don't know who's doing the Loudon podcast, but we're going to reach out to somebody, because we do a whole show dedicated to what's going on in Stonebridge right now. And good or bad, I'm not saying. I'm just saying we're just talking about how the games are going. I don't watch them that closely to know. I just know it's a big story.
Yeah, but Robinson is getting through their gauntlet right now, right? Robinson next week has Gainesville, and then they start district play. I mean, and the Patriots don't slouch, but I mean, their stretch of games between South County, Madison, Gainesville is a pretty tough stretch. I'm sure they'll
brutal.
Yeah, brutal. I'm sure they'll be happy to get back to.
But it makes them battle tested, right? A battle tested.
100%.
And if they can get in a spot like last year, because they won South Lakes this year.
Yeah, so their game better. They were 0-4 coming out of last year. They're 1-3.
And if Robinson can win 1-2,
they're 1-2 right now.
You
I
son
guess
of a gun. You son of a gun. They're 1-2, and you're not wearing the hat. You cannot make any prognostication. They're 1-2 right now, and I'll tell you what, if they can come out and win those games they won last year,
yeah,
right?
They're a playoff team.
That Westpo game is looming large because that was a tough game last year. But if they do that, like you said, they are a playoff team.
Yeah. Well, and they played West Springfield tough last year, right? I mean, they got a chance to get back to 500 and be back in the playoffs.
Sure. Don't sleep on Robinson. Don't sleep on Robinson.
Yeah.
Never sleep on Robinson. All right. Next up, as we could kind of go through this best of the rest here, we had Mount Vernon. I was surprised. I know you were surprised by this one. Mount Vernon Unity Reed score. Unity Reed wins 26-14 by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think we were both surprised. That I think both of us really thought really highly of it. We don't know a lot of. I mean, let's all cards on the table. We don't know a ton about Unity Reed. I don't think we ever heard back from them when we were doing the previews. And
even our man on the spot, the great incomparable Carl Frederick, who you were with last night, by the way, Carl Frederick, who's pretty in touch with the PW scene.
Yeah,
I'd say, even he on his rankings in the preseason, he was like, well, Unity's lost some guys. He was a little. He did mention that they had lost a few players, and so that's a big win for Unity Reed.
Oh, it's huge. I mean,
and Mount Vernon, Mount Vernon, what 2 games slide here, 3 games slide.
Yeah, and Unity Reed was coming off of 2 pretty big blowout losses.
Yeah.
To Garfield and to Woodbridge.
Right.
So yeah, I think sometimes the Fairfax schools might look down on the Prince William schools a little bit, but I think with a win like I think with the Unity Reed victory over Mount Vernon, it'll be and this may hurt Mount Vernon because last year Mount Vernon snuck in as an 8 seed, but that I think last year they had a couple wins out of the Prince William and that's not the case this year.
Yeah, you are correct. Now Mount Vernon's got some national interconference play coming up, and they can kind of get right. A good opportunity for them to get right on that.
Right.
All right. Well, moving on. Wow, the high score of the week. Osborne Park at Herndon. Herndon with the big win, 73-0.
Another bounce back win, right? For Herndon.
Yeah.
After the tough loss to Langley, I mean, but they're talented. They're really talented, and Osborne Park is down this year based on what we've seen. But I mean, you've got to keep on. You got to win your non-district games because Liberty's so tough. I mean, because they still have WNL and Marshall and Yorktown on the horizon, and an improved Wakefield team. I mean. The schedule isn't getting easier for Herndon.
Yeah, and the Langley, Langley lost hurt. They need to answer, kind of, like you said, get off the mat. They did in a hurry with that big score. And for Osborne Park, hang in there, guys. Right, hang in there. It's tough. I know, new coach this year and all that stuff. It's going to take time. It's going to take a little time. And Herndon, that's a good team. You didn't lose, a jalopy. You lost. That's a good team out there in Herndon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next up was another high scoring one. Justice and Marshall. So another new coach in Justice. And Marshall wins big, 56-14. And also 3-0. Nick Bonacani. Nick Bonacani and company getting the champagne ready. Put it on ice another day.
Well, luckily for 72 Dolphins, those teams are all gonna play each other inside on the side of Liberty, so they're gonna start clipping each other off. So I think they might be okay.
But you can't put away you can't put up the champagne on ice till you see it though, right? So right now Marshall does look good. We'll talk about who they play next week.
And they're averaging, I think, if you average all the games out, they're averaging almost 60 a game.
Yeah, Marshall looks ridiculously good. I mean,
but,
now,
and we'll get to it next week. You know who they have next week.
You know what, buddy? I'm going to put this on for that game next week, and and we're going to talk about Kreskin. We're going to talk about Kreskin, and we're going to talk about Johnny Carson, and how Kreskin was always wrong. So I can't wait to talk about Marshall next week. That should be fun. All right, AC at Forest Park, one of our players of the week.
Yeah,
Forest Park, Landon Hunt. It's all the Hunt. As he ran, all over AC. AC was shut out. AC, and we'll talk about that next week. They are on that. I think it was a 13. It's a 13-game losing streak now. Forest Park got the running game going, right?
yeah, and 24-0. Well, it's essentially it's a 3-score game if you do 2-point conversions. But that Forest Park is a really talented football team. Again, 2 Division I linemen. That running back Landon Hunt is legit.
And we'll talk about AC. Coming up, they got a couple big ones that I wouldn't call must win, but might be must win. All right, Wakefield, Yorktown. Relatively close game, 38-16, 2-score game. Wakefield is really on the rise. We like what Coach Martin is doing over there, but Yorktown's just too much for him right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone we've talked to is really impressed with what Wakefield's doing over there. So I think that they're definitely they're trending up, right? While
right.
The wins are not trending up, their play is trending up, right?
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, they look pretty good. It was 21-7 at the half. It's 21-7 at the half.
That's not bad. Wakefield 2 years ago, it would have been a lot worse than that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's part of turn. You always hope that you get the overnight turnaround. You always hope that you get what Oakland's it seems like Oakland's doing that right now. But last year the Yorktown Wakefield game was only 20-6 at the half. It seems like, but it's a little bit of. I mean, I guess you would know a little better than I would, and with your wife being a Arlington girl, I guess, being someone that grew up there. That's a little bit of rivalry game as well, though, right? I mean, those kids.
Yeah, that's
probably know each other.
Side versus north side, south side versus north side.
Yeah. So it was close. It was close to get at the half, but credit to the coaching staff over at Wakefield.
Yeah, for sure, turning things around. And Yorktown, 3-0, another 3-0 team.
Yorktown 3-0.
Liberty is full of 3-0 teams, my friend.
They are.
All right. Couple of other games out west, right? We had some PW games. I caught some of the Hilton and Osborne game. Man, Osborne had a bump in the road last week.
Yeah.
But we said they looked good the week before that, and they rebounded. Another team that kind of rebounded, knocked the dirt off and got in there, and they took it to Hilton. Hilton, the running game that we saw last week that looked so solid, they kind of took that away from them, and they just kind of dominated the game. Not much. Hilton's pretty banged up right now, and they were a little banged up going into the game, and they're even more banged up after the game. So, good job to Osborne for kind of rebounding from that loss the week before.
Yeah, and definitely another rebuilding program where it's going to take time. It's going to take time to rebuild. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
We had Woodbridge and Gainesville kind of.
And a close game. I couldn't find that game anywhere. It's a game I wish I could have seen because I don't know because Gainesville was rolling through people. I mean that top three in that Cedar Run district. So it sounds like Woodbridge might have something put together.
Woodbridge, man, they're back, baby. Woodbridge could be back.
Yeah, and Gainesville beat. Was it Garfield last week? It was Gainesville, and they beat up on Garfield, a team that we liked a lot, but looks like Woodbridge might. And here's the other thing about right now, right? Is there's more and more film, right? Now you have 2 games. If you got a scrum, because there's so much insider trading, you're not supposed to trade scrimmage film, but if you know somebody, somebody who knows somebody, you can get that film.
Right.
So teams are getting a little better job preparing for other teams and what they want to do and start taking away what they want to do well, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you said, Woodbridge has always had dudes over there. And if they kind of you keep talking about what happens with Freedom, Freedom Woodbridge no longer being a factor. Where does that talent go?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they start going back to Woodbridge where they used to be.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just let's see what happens there. All right. Big win for Battlefield.
Yeah. But it was 14-0 at the half. I watched the first half. I wasn't able to get the rest of the game. Something happened with the feed. Man, Battlefield's good on defense. I mean, offensively, they seem to be struggling a little bit. The penalties, again, a lot of penalties. But defensively, yeah. So I mean, Garfield after taking a pretty hefty whooping by Gainesville last week, the thought process would have been Battlefield probably a better team. Really struggled, but didn't pull his weight in the second half.
Yeah.
But defensively, that just what they have up front is just. I mean, it's so hard to deal with. I mean, they're so talented on the defensive side.
Yeah, and that's a good Garfield team.
Yeah.
So Battlefield, another just another machine out there.
Yeah.
And then Patriot winners again. Jackson McCarter, very similar to he was our player of the week last week.
Yeah.
But man,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Sorry. Yeah. Opening week. He was our player of the week, and he had a similar game to young Overton. I mean, he had like 5 carries for like 180.
Yeah.
And a bunch of touchdowns.
He's pretty. I mean, he'll be in the conversation at the end of the year for regional player of the year. For what you call it, for state for the state player of the year, right? He'll be in the conversation with that.
Or the most important and the most coveted award that there is, which is the All Hitches.
Yeah.
Offer the player of the year. Some say, I'm not saying it. There are others out there who are saying it, that award might be the most coveted award in all of Northern Virginia.
People are saying.
All right. Well, buddy, that kind of puts a cap on it right there, man.
Yeah.
Great week 3. And it really, it's a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger every week.
How about this? In 2 more weeks, we're halfway done the season.
Stop.
Halfway done the season in 2 weeks.
It's depressing. Stop it. It is
it's not depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing. This is too good. I wanted to keep going. Just keep going for it. This is fantastic. I know what you want. You want to be out there putting up your Christmas lights, buddy. I know what you want.
I do. I do want to be out there put my Christmas lights. I cannot wait to put. I like Christmas.
I know you do. You're the last true family man, Clark. I know. Buddy. Well, I can't wait to break down the week 4 matchups with you next week or in a few days. It's going to be fun.
Big games next week. There are some big games next week.
There are.
Some undefeated. There's some undefeateds will not be undefeated next week. I think we have quite a few of the matches of undefeateds coming up. There's some.
I mean, there is some matchups that some people are starting to kind of drool over, right? I mean, there's a couple of them. Now you got me thinking. I was trying to just keep it on week 3. I'll throw out a couple bones, just a little. The dog is coming. I got some scraps, so I'm gonna throw the dog a couple scraps. We'll throw the dog a couple scraps. Okay, a couple games that might pique people's interest. How about Marshall Madison? We were just talking about this.
Oh man,
Marshall Madison. You know what? Marshall's hearing all the talk. Yeah. Marshall's saying, okay, you know what? We're gonna prove it. We're gonna prove that we're the new juggernaut in town, and we're gonna take down Madison.
Yeah, they've beat up on the last 3 opponents, and now the saloon bar kicks open, right? You beat up everybody, and now all of a sudden it's Big Bart walking in town, right?
Leroy Brown just walked in, the baddest man in the whole
damn town.
So, but you know what? Marshall's game for it. I think.
Now the thing. I think we're gonna get started. I'll stop. Because I have some opinions on why I think this game could go where you don't. I won't.
Yeah, save the good stuff, buddy. Save the good stuff.
Yeah.
Keep it in the basement. Keep it down here. All right. I mean, a couple of Hayfield Chantilly. Hey, you're not playing. We're going to do this again. We're going to do this. Coach Overton, where you at, buddy? You're playing a Concord team now. Now you're playing Look, you conquered. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say you took out a Patriot team, and I gave you that love, and I said, you know what, you did it. But you ain't playing. Now you're playing the SEC. I said this back in August. The SEC of Nova football is the Concord. SEC, the Concord has always delivered. And you know what? People might, Hayfield be big favorites. But I always think, don't bet against Concord teams, all I'm saying. Don't ever bet against Concord team.
Yeah. Well, I can have some opinions on that game. I will save them for the what you call it. So
I'm not giving you opinions. I'm just telling you just kind of the overall matchup. So I got my opinion too, buddy. We might not agree on everything this week. I don't think you and I are going to agree on everything. One that I love, West Springfield Oakton. Love that one.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah. Sleeper game of the week.
That's a big one. Yeah, that's a big one.
Like you said earlier, the Arlington rivalry of Yorktown and W&L. That's another great one.
We got personally invited to that game.
Yeah. Great eats out there, buddy.
Yeah.
Good eats out there.
Do you want to drive to Arlington on a Friday evening?
W&L. We get treated like royalty out there. My wife is on the mural, and they have when you walk into the main area there, they have all the pictures of like past students and all that stuff. My wife was very involved. She wasn't like me in high school. She was very involved in a lot of things. So she's on some of the old murals and stuff. Let's see what we got here. We got Annandale Falls Church. We talk about the National League starting to kind of have the interconference play, right?
Yeah.
Sure. So so a lot of good matchups here that I you're right. Week 4, South County Fairfax, another game of the week's sleeper.
The Master and the Apprentice, right?
Yes, you're right. Very good. Very good.
Master and the Apprentice, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that one's a good one. You got that
2 blowout games last year, not by the same team.
Yeah. That's a rematch from last year. Coach Pannoni might have revenge on the mind.
Yes,
the way that South County was eliminated last year by Fairfax. So I agree with you. I think week 4 is the best week so far of action. So I can't wait to break these games down with you, brother.
Yeah,
can't wait.
It's gonna be exciting.
All right, so get ready to sign out here again. Congrats to the 6 recipients of the players of the week. You'll be getting your stuff and your shout out soon enough. And congrats to our highlight of the week over at Marshall.
Yeah. Congrats, everybody. You guys are well deserved, and I'll try to get all that stuff out to you sometime in the next, hopefully by tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, good stuff. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in on all Hitches. Make sure you guys subscribe. And from Coach Mesa and I, see you later.
See you.